My parents told everyone I was the broke daughter, but 5 minutes before my birthday cake came out, my grandpa whispered, "Camila, they stole your life." The room froze. My mom's smile dropped. My dad's hands started shaking like he already knew what was about to happen, and I felt my heart pounding so loud it felt like everyone could hear it. Before I continue, make sure you follow, like, and share this story so more people hear the truth. Everyone was laughing around the table, pretending this was a perfect family moment, but I could feel something was off the whole night. My parents kept watching me like they were waiting for me to say something stupid or embarrassing. My mom even joked loudly, "Camila doesn't need expensive gifts. She can't afford anything anyway." Everyone laughed, except Grandpa. He kept staring at them, almost angry. I tried to ignore it, but then my Aunt Karen leaned over and whispered, "Sweetheart, maybe one day you'll get your life together. Don't worry, not everyone is meant to be successful." Her words hit me hard. They said things like this all my life, like I was some kind of failure. Nobody ever believed in me. Nobody ever thought I'd become anything. They treated me like an outsider in my own house. But tonight felt different. Grandpa kept touching the inside pocket of his coat like he was hiding something important. My dad noticed and suddenly pulled him aside. They argued in low voices, but I still caught one line from my dad. "You promised you'd never tell her." My stomach dropped. Tell me what? What were they hiding from me? Why did Dad look terrified? When they returned to the table, Grandpa's eyes were red. He sat next to me and whispered so only I could hear, "They used your name, Camila, for 25 years, and they think you'll never know." I felt cold. My throat dried. "Know what?" I asked. Grandpa didn't answer. Instead, he stood up, raised his glass, and said loudly, "Everyone, before the cake comes out, I have something to reveal about Camila." Every head snapped toward him. My dad muttered, "Dad, don't, sit down." My mom put her hand on his arm, trying to stop him. Even my cousins stopped recording TikToks. The whole room held its breath. Grandpa reached into his coat, pulled out a thick white envelope with my name written in gold ink, and said, "Camila, this belongs to you," and it always did. But before he opened it, my dad lunged toward him. Grandpa stumbled back as my dad grabbed his arm, trying to snatch the envelope before anyone could see what was inside. The room exploded with gasps. My mom jumped up, shouting, "Dad, stop, you're ruining everything." But Grandpa pushed my dad away with surprising strength for an 82-year-old man. His voice shook with anger. "Ruining everything? You ruined her life." Everyone froze. My heart raced so fast, I thought I might faint. I had never seen Grandpa this furious. My cousins stopped whispering. Even my Aunt Karen's smirk disappeared. My dad pointed at me like I was the villain. "Camila doesn't need to know about this. She's irresponsible, she wastes money, she would have ruined everything." I felt a punch in my chest. Me? Ruin everything? I barely had enough to cover rent. I worked 2 jobs. I lived quietly. I never asked them for anything. Why were they acting like I'd committed a crime? Grandpa ignored him and handed me the envelope with shaking hands. "Sweetheart, for 25 years, they hid something that was yours, something your grandfather, me, left for you the day you were born." My breath caught. Left what for me? My mom suddenly screamed, "Do not open that." She reached across the table, knocking over plates and glasses. Juice spilled over the birthday decorations. The whole room went silent. I stared at her. "Why? What are you hiding?" Her voice cracked. "Because you don't deserve it, Camila." The words sliced through me like a knife. I felt every eye in the room turn toward me, some shocked, some curious, some almost enjoying the drama.
Grandpa put his arm around me. "Camila, don't listen to her. You deserve everything in that envelope. It's your birthright." My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, thick, official, sealed, and at the top, in bold letters, it read, Trust Fund Beneficiary, Camila Reyes, total amount, $3 million. My vision blurred, my ears rang. $3 million. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Everything around me disappeared. Then my dad shouted, She wasn't supposed to see that. She wasn't supposed to know. Grandpa faced everyone and raised his voice. Your parents took control of her trust fund when she was a baby, and they've been using it for themselves ever since. Gasps filled the room. My mom covered her face. My Aunt Karen whispered, No way. My cousins looked like they had witnessed a crime scene. My dad stepped forward slowly, eyes cold. Camila, give me that paper. Now. But before he could take another step, Grandpa pulled out a second envelope from his coat, a darker one. He held it tight and said, And this is the part they're most afraid of. The whole room leaned in as Grandpa lifted the dark envelope, his fingers gripping it like it carried a bomb. My dad's face turned ghost white. My mom's hands dropped from her mouth, and she whispered, Dad, don't you dare! Grandpa ignored her. He looked straight at me. Camila, what I'm about to show you, your parents prayed you would never find out. My chest tightened. My hands shook. Everyone's eyes burned into me, waiting, hungry for the next twist. Even the little kids stopped moving. The entire birthday party felt like it was holding its breath. My dad suddenly rushed forward. Give it to me. That envelope isn't for her. She was never supposed to see it. But my uncle and two of my cousins stepped in front of him, blocking his way. One of them whispered, Let her see it, dude. This is messed up. Grandpa opened the dark envelope with steady fingers and pulled out a set of documents. Old, yellowed pages mixed with newer printed ones. Camila, these are the records of every dollar your parents spent using your trust fund. My head snapped up. My what? Grandpa laid the papers on the table, item after item after item. Luxury vacations, private clubs, designer clothes, a new SUV every 3 years, home renovations, even a $40,000 anniversary trip to Italy, all in their names, paid with my money. I felt the world tilt. My throat burned. My mom tried to grab the papers, yelling, You don't understand. We needed that money. You wouldn't have used it right. You were always so average. Average? I whispered. You stole from me for 25 years. My dad stepped forward, voice trembling with anger. We protected that money. You weren't ready. You still aren't. You didn't earn any of it. We deserved it more than you ever would. His words stabbed deeper than anything before. They truly believed that. They believed I didn't deserve my own inheritance. Grandpa slammed his cane on the floor. You stole from her, and you lied to her every day of her life. A tear rolled down my cheek, but I didn't wipe it. My anger was louder now than my pain. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you hide everything? Mom whispered, Because if you knew, you'd leave us. Something snapped inside me. Maybe I should have. Before anyone could speak, Grandpa pulled out one more paper, this time a fresh document with a shiny seal. Everyone leaned in. This, he said, is the part they feared the most, because this paper changes everything about tonight. My dad's voice cracked. Dad, please, don't do this. And Grandpa looked right at me and said, Camila, this document proves you are now the sole owner of something your parents never wanted you to have. Before I could ask what it was, a loud knock echoed from the front door. Everyone turned, because standing outside was someone none of us expected to see.
A tall man in a dark suit stepped into the doorway, holding a leather briefcase and a stern expression. The entire room fell silent. My mom's face drained of color. My dad stumbled back like he'd seen a ghost. Grandpa smiled for the first time that night. "Right on time." The man nodded. "I'm here for Camila Reyes." My heartbeat pounded in my ears. "Me? Who are you?" He opened his briefcase and pulled out a stack of official documents. "My name is Attorney Michael Hart. I represent the trustee who handled your grandfather's original accounts, including the one your parents have been illegally accessing since 2000. My dad's voice cracked. "Illegal? No, we had permission. We had full control." Attorney Hart looked at him coldly. "You had temporary guardianship. Temporary. It expired when Camila turned 18. Every withdrawal made after that," he flipped a page, "is classified as theft." The room erupted. My cousins gasped. My Aunt Karen whispered, "Oh my God." My mom collapsed into a chair, shaking. Dad stuttered, "That's impossible. She didn't even know about it." The lawyer cut him off. "Ignorance of the beneficiary does not give you legal access." Then he turned to me with a softness I didn't expect. "Camila, your grandfather asked me to come today because he knew your parents would never tell you the truth." Grandpa put his hand on mine. "Sweetheart, there's more." Attorney Hart handed me a thick folder. My fingers shook as I opened it, and inside were documents for properties, stocks, and investments under my name. Properties I never knew I owned, accounts I never knew existed, returns I never received. My breath caught. What is all this?" The lawyer smiled faintly. "Your real inheritance. The trust fund was only one part. Your grandfather built a portfolio for you over the years. He wanted you to have everything he never had growing up." A whisper spread through the room. 3 houses, 2 rental buildings, enough investments to live off for life. My mom jumped up, trembling. "She can't have that. She doesn't know how to manage it. We kept everything safe. We... Safe?" Grandpa snapped. "You drained her accounts. You used her money. You lied to her for decades. You didn't keep anything safe. You kept her trapped." The lawyer nodded. "And there's one final document." He pulled out a blue envelope sealed with gold. My dad's knees buckled. Mom covered her mouth like she might scream. With shaking fingers, I opened it. Inside was a legal transfer form. Effective immediately, I, Camila Reyes, was now the sole owner of my parents' house. I gasped so loud, the whole room turned to me. Mom choked, No, she can't. Michael, tell me she can't." Dad shouted, "This is our home, our life, our everything. She can't take it." The lawyer said calmly, "Correction. It was your home. It is now legally hers." My parents stared at me like their entire world had collapsed. But before anyone could speak, Grandpa cleared his throat and said, "There's something else Camila needs to know. Something even bigger than the money, the house, or any trust fund." He stood up slowly. "Camila, the real reason your parents hid your inheritance is because they were hiding you from someone." And before I could ask who, the lawyer stepped aside, and a second figure appeared in the doorway. The second figure stepped forward, and my breath caught in my chest. It was a woman, around my mom's age, with the same eyes as mine. Grandpa whispered, "Camila, this is Elena, your biological mother." The room exploded. My mom, Linda, screamed, "She has no right to be here." Dad grabbed the table for support. My cousins looked like they'd faint. Elena stepped closer, her voice breaking. "They took you from me. Your grandparents begged them to tell you the truth, but they hid it, along with your inheritance. I've been searching for you for 25 years. My world shook. I stared at Linda. "Is this true?" She didn't blink. She didn't deny it. She just whispered, "You were never meant to know." Something inside me snapped, but not with pain, with clarity. I turned to Grandpa, then to Attorney Hart. What happens now? The lawyer said, everything your parents took will be returned. You have full legal control of your assets, your properties, and your future. They can't hide anymore. Linda fell to her knees. Camilla, please, don't leave us. We need you. I looked at Elena, this woman who had tears running down her face, who never stopped looking at me like I mattered. Then I looked at the two people who stole everything from me, my money, my truth, my life. I stood tall. No, you needed my money. You never needed me. The lawyer handed me the house keys, their house keys. I walked to the door with Grandpa and Elena by my side. Before leaving, I turned back one last time. Pack your things. I'll send someone in the morning. Their faces collapsed. Mine didn't. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the broke daughter. I wasn't the outsider. I wasn't the girl they controlled. I was Camila Reyes, and everything they tried to hide was finally mine.